I want to call this short presentation Earthquake Readiness. It's all about rigidity and flexibility. We live in a very insecure age. It plays itself out in the fields of international politics, environmental threats, economic instability, but it also plays itself out in religion and in Christian theology. I think part of the reason is that there are a lot of unholy alliances between our Christian faith and some of these other fields. But I think another factor is that when the earth moves under our feet, what do? Well, many people will run to religion for their security. At least there, everything is secure and unmoving. Tradition stabilizes. Truth is objective. The Bible is authoritative. God is unchanging. And so our religious convictions and our faith should be unchanging as well. I think there are evidences of this flight into religious security all over the place. I hear people say, don't tamper with what Christians have always believed. Don't re-examine core convictions. Don't even bring up controversial topics. You can hardly imagine my dismay when the biggest criticism of my book, All Right Now, came not from those who disagreed with my viewpoint, but from those who were against openly talking about the controversial issues that it addresses. We will not talk about this topic under my watch, I heard a key leader of our denomination say in the company of many other leaders who apparently approved. Don't tamper with what we've always believed, is the mantra we hear. We've put a lot of effort into figuring out exactly what is to be believed. People who call any part of it into question, well, they're just trying to bring down the whole house of cards. And there, I suggest, is our big misunderstanding. We imagine that our faith, true evangelical faith, is a house of cards just waiting to come crashing down if one small support is slightly adjusted. I don't want to invest my life for a faith that's so insecure that every challenge threatens to collapse the whole structure. And I don't want to invest my teaching career in supporting that view of truth or faith. I referred before to situations where the earth seems to be moving under our feet. I think we have too long assumed that the norm is stability, that things should be built as though the earth won't move. The fact is, the earth does move. The earth, its surface, consists of tectonic plates that shift, that will shift, that must shift, for life on earth actually depends on it, scientists insist. So we need to live our lives not as though the earth will never move. We need to live with earthquake readiness. We've actually learned quite a bit about how to do that in some places. Japan and Chile both experienced earthquakes far stronger than the one in Haiti, with considerably less damage, because they were able to build with earthquake readiness. So what is earthquake readiness? Well, let's talk about it, and I will get back to the Bible soon enough. We used to prepare for earthquakes by building more and more rigidly. And now we're learning that a better choice is to build more flexibly. I remember years ago touring the Avianca building in Bogota, Colombia. That was way back, September 1970. Only a year after the building was completed, making it the tallest building in Colombia. Now it's the 14th tallest, by the way. Our tour guide explained that the entire building was constructed on top of giant rollers, designed in the event of an earthquake, and apparently Bogota, Colombia is earthquake prone, designed to roll the building so that it wouldn't be shaken to pieces. I was amazed at the incredible novel idea of building a building on rollers an idea that I have since learned is not so novel at all anymore. It's commonplace. Now, ever since the San Francisco earthquake in 1989, and especially since the Northridge earthquake of 1995, freeway overpasses in California are being built differently. No longer long, solid ribbons of concrete connecting both ends of major overpasses. Now we often have movable and unattached pieces sitting on each other, so that in the event of an earthquake, they slide, but they don't crack. They move instead of breaking. My parents-in-law in southern Germany live in a house with 36-inch thick stone walls. It could easily withstand a runaway bulldozer crash and sustain hardly any damage, whereas my wood-framed home in California would barely slow down that runaway bulldozer as it crashed right through one side and back out the other. But what if a massive earthquake struck? I think the stone house would be split in pieces, and mine would eventually stop swaying. What's my point? Well, there's more than one way to prepare for tectonic shifts. We could build more rigidly, or we could build more flexibly. Now, if we can be rigid enough, I suppose we can withstand the onslaughts coming. But if we can't, a better choice is to build flexibly. I'm not optimistic that we can afford any longer to construct ways of being Christian that are both biblical and faithful, and at the same time rigid enough to withstand the tectonic shifts that are already happening or are on the horizon. I think the time has come to build flexibly. That means we need to identify some very basic core values that express our convictions, that fire up our imaginations, that carry us through hard times, and at the same time free each other and our Christian communities to build on those core values in ways that don't construct a house of cards just waiting to fall down if one of the pieces shifts. We need Christian communities that can move and sway and roll with the shifting plates. Among other reasons, we need to do it so that we will be there for those who don't think ahead and whose house of cards really does come crashing down, whether these be individuals or churches. So where are the tectonic plates shifting? Where are there anticipated earthquakes ahead? Where will the tsunamis they cause hit land? Well, that's hard to predict in any specific way, but I think there are some warning signs to be considered. I think the church has not nearly carefully enough thought through what it means to be truly missional and not merely evangelistic, or what it means to be a prophetic voice in a post-Christian Western world, or what it means to be relevant in an age where our children are growing up with postmodern assumptions that are simply the air they breathe. These are tectonic shifts that are producing and will continue to produce earthquakes that we had better be ready to flex with. The ballast of a strong tradition is almost spent already. The glue of ethnicity in our denominations won't hold us together much longer, if it does at all. The pronouncement of denominational giants, well, they're no longer being listened to. No one now seems to be picking up their megaphones. Those who think that the day can be saved by building more rigidly are gambling on a safeguard against earthquake damage that I don't think is going to hold up. When the earth shifts under us, what we need is not so much to be even more anchored and rigid. It's to be nimble and flexible. Remember, the wind blows where it wills. And so it is with the Spirit of God.